Hi everyone, it's Gary Nicholson here for the Mountain Weather Information Service. This is your planning outlook video updated on Friday the 12th of January. Now there is a change in the weather pattern developing as we start next week, but for the weekend it's more of the same really, generally murky, quite damp, not really doing a great deal, but staying on the chilly side. Then fronts will sweep their way through Sunday night into Monday. That'll produce a spell of rain and snow extensively across the Scottish mountains, but following that much colder air comes in and we see a cold week ahead with frequent snow and hail showers coming in on an unstable westerly airstream and often windy with gales at times. So a quick look at the weekend's charts first of all. Saturday sees a slack area of low pressure centred across Ireland. We've got fronts trying to encroach their way in, giving a rather damp picture across Wales, a mixture of rain and bits of sleet and snow on higher terrain. Not particularly heavy, but enough to be a persistent nuisance for most of the day. Essentially dry up the spine of the country across the Pennines, the Lake District and much of Scotland, although the western coastal mountains like to see some dampness coming in at times. Got some banks of low cloud once again, northern areas of Scotland faring best for the cloud breaks. And we've got some blustery winds, southeasterlies essentially, and some strong gusts locally to quite low levels. Now by Sunday that slack area of low pressure will have sort of faded away really, and the leftovers of a front is getting dragged away northeastwards, just keeping murky skies, spits and spots of rain or light snow in places, but again amounts essentially small. The winds will be strengthening though across Scotland particularly, and reaching gale force or later in the day severe gale force as the fronts move in from the Atlantic. That will introduce rain, but snow extensively across the Highlands. The rain really only just at lower coastal slopes, and that will swing in on Sunday night. So here's the progress of that snow and rain on Sunday evening and night, and it's really after dark before it gets in too extensively into the Highlands. There is a narrow warm sector within this frontal system, so for a while that could all turn to rain up to around say 800 or 900 metres. I think it will be largely snow across the mountains though. In England and Wales may well all be rain as this system sweeps through. Heaviest falls on those western mountains, but a sharp cold front coming in on the back edge of that will drop the freezing levels quickly. So on the back edge of that system turning to snow again to increasingly low levels even in England and Wales, say above around 500 or 600 metres, perhaps a bit lower as we go into Monday daytime. And towards midday that front will be across the central and southeastern parts of England. Showers will be following into western Scotland, these of snow and hail right down to low levels. So if we have a look at temperatures, and this is the 850 millibar level, now that's around 4,500 feet in the atmosphere, perhaps a little bit lower as we go through the week ahead. And this highlights that cold front that's coming in. This is on Monday morning, and we see that temperatures across England and Wales are above freezing at that level, but across western Scotland you're seeing values coming down already towards -5. And that will be the way of things as we go through most of next week then. Values at that level in the atmosphere, around 4,000 feet, extensively on the Munros then to -5 or below. Could be a little bit colder on, say, Ben Nevis Summit, -7 is quite believable. So a cold westerly airstream is in place for the week ahead. And really terrain frozen from low levels up, freezing levels around 300 to 500 metres, even down as far south as Wales throughout this time. So any snow that's falling will accumulate extensively, nothing in terms of any thaw during the week ahead. This is just running on over several days, so that westerly, cold westerly is around, little perturbations of less cold air, maybe just extending into southern regions, but across Scotland you're staying in a very similar temperature regime all the way through the upcoming week. And just a hint towards next weekend that the wind flow turns north-northwesterly and just maintains that cold pattern then. So there may not be too much changing from day to day next week. Here's Monday's chart, and that's where that frontal system will have got to as we saw, and that showery westerly that is coming in from the Atlantic. The winds gale force, at least for a time on Monday. There may be a bit of a lull developing into Scotland, but detail uncertain. That strong westerly is in place into Tuesday. Strongest winds look to be focused across England and Wales. Across Scotland, maybe the wind's somewhat lighter, but could still be gale force at times, and squally gusts coming through in and around showers. Those frequent, or at times merging into almost constant snow and hail coming into western mountains, particularly if there's anything of a front just draped into the picture across Scotland. And those heavy bursts containing some thunder and lightning in places. The air is very unstable with extensively very cold air aloft. That's the trigger for those thundery bursts coming in. Eastern mountains generally faring best for fewest showers, but I think showers will make their way all the way across the country at times. Not a great deal of change on Wednesday. We need to watch this little feature towards the south. That may develop into a more organised waving frontal system. If it does, it could take in a greater part of England and Wales. Some of the models are trying to do that, so just need to watch for a more organised zone of snow even into Wales and the South Pennines at this stage. But essentially, northern regions of Britain, it's a showery westerly at the most frequent, at times constant snow and hail showers just rattling in to the West Highlands of Scotland. Cloud bases will vary very quickly. At times you'll get some sunshine burst through, but then whiteout conditions in snow and hail coming in at times. So stepping back and looking at the big picture towards the end of the week, and you can see how that extensive cold westerly airstream is in charge still. We've got low pressure focused to the north of the British Isles, and the air is being drawn around from Greenland and Iceland. Running on then towards the weekend, just subtle changes in the pressure pattern that sees the airflow more north to northwesterly, so staying cold but just changing the distribution of the showers somewhat. So northern Scotland more in line for those, and maybe a few bands just orientating themselves more towards North Wales coming in off the Irish Sea. Low pressure becoming more centred around the North Sea and eventually trying to be pushed further into Central Europe. Now, it's quite an interesting pattern that's trying to play out as we head towards the later part of January. This is the complete 7-day pressure anomaly chart, which shows where areas of low and high pressure are going to be positioned. And we've got that area of low pressure somewhere around the North Sea, southern Scandinavia, and into central parts of Europe. High pressure, quite a strong feature shown on this model around Greenland, parts of eastern North America, and extending towards parts of Russia as well. So it's blocking, as we call it, that's in existence around polar regions, and essentially it's inhibiting the progress of any jet stream coming in across the Atlantic. So not really a pattern that would see milder air get back in very easily. We could find that east or northeasterly winds become a dominant regime into the later part of the month. Much uncertainty on this. Some of the computer models don't quite go for it as markedly, but it's one to watch, and I think the idea of colder weather being in the picture is still there. In the short term, though, the week ahead does promise that continuation of wintry conditions in what has been a pretty good season so far. We'll update this planning video again then on Tuesday of next week. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.